This is a public service announcement. This is a public service announcement. What you're about to listen to may make you yell, shout, smile, and even laugh out loud. Youth baseball players, coaches, and fans join the Slide Podcast crew on their journey to make baseball fun again. Hear stories from players of all ages, plus tips and tricks from coaches and scouts. Now, if you're ready, give us a loud play ball.
Play ball. So, you know what, Allie? I just realized our new intro says, now give us a loud play ball, and we never say that. So I said play ball. Welcome to the Slide Podcast. I'm Coach Aaron, and I am joined by Coach Lacey. Is that what we're going to call you, Coach Lacey?
I don't know. All
you
my
like
girls
Coach
call
Allie?
me Coach Allie. My kids call me Miss Lacey when I'm teaching. So it's a mixture of both.
Maybe we'll just take the first couple letters of your name, the last couple letters, and we'll just make one name. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. We're knee deep into season 2 now, and we are joined tonight with Andrew Wingreen. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing really well. How are you guys? Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, we're doing great. So, Andrew, I'm going to give everybody just a quick synopsis about how our paths crossed, and we're going to go from there. So, Andrew makes baseball bats. And so, obviously, we're a youth baseball show, and, you know, there's a lot of parents out there that really don't think about using a wooden baseball bat. But what you do with them is pretty unique. So you do the creation of the bat and the painting of the bat, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, I love doing the artwork's my favorite. So I love having fun with the game and making fun designs. So that's kind of my passion with those.
Yeah. So Andrew's done a few bats for a couple of the Savannah Bananas. He's done some Frankenstein bat that ended up with the Funky Monkeys in Charlotte, North Carolina. Soon we may have a Slide Podcast baseball bat coming soon.
We can make that happen.
Hey, dude, I'm going to tell you, the artwork is amazing. Like, it grabs my attention. And so tell our listeners just a little bit about, like, where this bat company came from.
Yeah, so I'm a college basketball coach, which you wouldn't think a guy coaching college basketball would start making wood baseball bats. But I stepped away from coaching this past season. It's my first season not coaching in 14 years. So it's kind of been it was a weird transition, but I love baseball. I'm always following my home team, the Brewers. And a few years ago, I started following a friend of mine now, but back then Xylo Bats was the company, and they just were showing videos on Instagram Reels of them painting their baseball bats. And I thought it was cool and satisfying, and just was intrigued by it. So I started following their account, ended up building a relationship with their founder, Leland Wetzel. And so when I stopped coaching, I was kind of bored with my time, and I'm like, man, what am I going to do? I can't be sitting around the house. I need to occupy my time and just keep my mind engaged on something. And I just decided it was baseball season. You know, I'm watching a ton of games, and I'm like, you know, I'm going to try making baseball bats. And wasn't sure what it was going to look like. Didn't really have a whole lot of a plan, but went to a woodworking store, bought a lathe, and started turning my first baseball bat, and just kind of started a little business from there.
Wow. Now, did you take shop back in school?
I did not. So if you ask my wife, I don't know how to fix anything. I mean, when it comes to fixing things or working with my hands around the house, like, I'm not very good. So when it was, you know, when I said I want to try making wood baseball bats, you know, I told some friends and family, and they kind of chuckled because they know my background with that kind of stuff. And it was definitely something new. I was on YouTube and Google a lot, just trying to figure out, like, first of all, how do I turn a wood baseball bat? What do I need for that? And then I found out I needed something called a wood lathe, and I didn't know what that was. So I had to look up what a lathe was. Where do I buy one? How do I use it? Where do I get wood billets from? You know, and then once I finally figured out how to turn them, it was like, okay, how do I make these balance the right way? What kind of dimensions do I have to have for these bats? And learning about ink dots and which way we want the grain, and where do we put the logo on the bat. It's just a whirlwind of new stuff that, you know, I'm a baseball fan, but I don't know much about wood baseball bats. So it's been a fun process to learn. And, you know, over the last 7 months, I've learned more than I ever could have imagined about baseball bats and how they work and what's important and how they're made. And it's been a fun journey so far.
Yeah, so for all of us, just normal people who just watch it on TV, we just think they just grab any baseball bat, right, Allie? And now you obviously know a little bit more than I do, a lot. But, for all we know, they're just grabbing, because you see them break a bat, they just reach in and grab another one. You don't think about all that science that goes into making those.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was going to ask, was there just like something on Google you looked up and, diameter of a bat or how to balance out a wood bat for professional versus youth? Because I have some wood baseball bats that are custom made. The handles are different. You got the hockey puck handle. The Axe bat has their own custom handle. You have a regular handle. Then all of a sudden you have different diameters on the barrel, the different models of the bats. I mean, like you said, the ink spot, the knot on the baseball bat.
What's the ink spot?
The ink dot is something that you put kind of about, like 12 to 13 inches above the knob, and you just put it on there so they can tell how good the wood grain is. So I think for Major League Baseball to be approved to be used, it has to be less 3 degrees or less. Like the wood grains can't be curved more than 3 degrees, or else the wood is deemed dangerous, could split easy or things like that. So this ink dot bleeds into the bat and shows you. Yeah, you got an example there for us.
There you go. Okay.
So if you look closely at the grains, you can see that they go up and down the bat in a straight line, and it means that the grain of the wood is safe to use.
That's interesting. That's cool. Go ahead, Al.
So where did you find the billets? Like, where are you getting them imported from, and what kind of wood are you using?
Yeah, so I've really only done mostly maple, and so I started out just getting them from like woodworking stores and wood shops, and those were probably not the best bats at first, and probably wouldn't have been able to be used in competition. But yeah, I started getting some billets from this lumber yard up in like Pennsylvania, and they've sent me some. And then I've also gotten some from the same company that my friend Leland uses with his Xylo bats. He's actually made some for me too, because he has a CNC lathe, which is computerized. I don't have one of those yet. So he's actually turned a few for me that had certain specifications that I wasn't able to do. And so he's helped with that. I've had a couple friends bring me some, like, hey, we had some friends give us these billets. You want to use them? And I've turned some like birch ones and some ash bats, and they're all different. They feel different turning them, and they respond different to, paint being put on them, and just obviously feel different. So it's been, like I said, it's been a whirlwind just trying to learn all the nuances and the differences and what makes a good baseball bat and what people prefer and how that all works.
So when we say billets, so I have to, talk common people language, but I think I know what a billet is. All right. So I've been watching, there's so many, bat companies out there, and I've watched. So I do a little word working myself, and like, I would love to turn a bat. But so the billets are those long cylinders that you would put on the lathe first to start. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I was following along with you two there. So now, I've seen, some players use birch, some use ash. Like, what's the difference to you? Like, what's the benefits?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to preference, but I know, maple's typically one of the harder woods. So, they last longer, they don't break as easy. And some, hitters believe they are stronger, so they can hit better with them. Sometimes, ash is a strong wood, but it can split easily. So a lot of times ash is a tough wood just because you go through more bats just because they might break more. And those are, I would say, the two most popular ones that most people use. But, I haven't played with my bats that I've made. Like I've hit some in a cage and things like that. But as far as, I think it just comes down really to preference. Like some feel different. The billets, they all come in like weighted differently. So like a maple billet might be heavier than an ash billet, and then like if you use birch, like that's a heavy wood. So to turn those bats, you got to take into consideration like what size they're going to be, and if that initial weight's going to work out the right way, or if you're going to have to make it too small, things like that. So
because you have to start shaving, like if you want to get it down to a 28 ounce or whatever particular size and weight you want, you've got to continuously take more material off the bat. And
it's tough. Like I had to make for Stetson, actually I made some training bats, so like some barrel overweights and some underweighted bats, and then just some training bats where it's like handle overloaded, and just trying to mess around with the different balances of those and getting them skinny enough to be able to weight them the right way. It's hard. It really is an art, and I don't sit here acting like I'm an expert at it by any means. I'm figuring it out as I go, and I've wasted several billets trying to figure things out, but it's fun, and it's, I think trying something new and just, kind of going through the ups and downs of, is this going to work? Is this not going to work? Are people going to like the feel of it? And, eventually you start getting into a little rhythm and you can kind of figure out how it works out a little bit better. But just like anything, it takes time to practice and to get good at it.
How many have you made total bats?
Probably about 50 to 60.
Okay.
So it's not a ton, but it's, they get better. I feel like every time one goes through, they get better. So, I just can't imagine, like that still sounds like 50, 60. How long does it take you to make one? So I think the first one I did, it probably took me close to like just 7 or 8 hours to do, because I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know how to use the tools. Yeah. But now I think, I can usually get them out in about 2 hours.
Okay.
So, some are tougher than others. And again, it just sometimes depends on the grain of the wood. Like if it's cut in the right way, or
cooperating with you.
Sometimes my lathe is having better days than others where it's not vibrating as much. And it's, if you have vibrations in your lathe, it's really tough to spin a bat true. So, again, just trying to figure it out every day, but yeah, it takes a little bit of time. It's like I said, I enjoy the artwork and the design element much better than the actual making of the bats by hand.
So, Allie, swinging a wooden bat, I'll tell you, like, I don't have hardly any experience swinging a wooden bat. Like, tell me what our listeners need to be aware of, because there's wooden bat youth tournaments that happen all through the country, and I so want to bring one of those around here. But tell us, either one, like Andrew as well, like what's things that parents need to consider if they wanted to get their kid a youth wooden bat?
Yeah, as far as wood bats go, it's player preference. So that's the toughest part when making wood bats. It's really, everything's going to feel different in somebody else's hands, right? So you can get the certain length you want, the certain weight. There's different types of models, different types of handles, the taper on the handle. It's crazy. I can only imagine. But the wood bats, I feel like when you're training as a kid or an adult, it just helps you square the ball up better. It gets you instant feedback. So when you miss that pitch, you're going to feel it a lot more. So those wood bat tournaments, it's a lot of fun to see, because when somebody squares that ball up and actually hits the ball solid, you see it go flying and you hear that sound off the bat, like a major league stadium, that perfect crisp pop.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you know you nailed that ball. But I agree that maple feels wood in the hands. I like to swing like a birch, but I'm also swinging a drop 5 bat because I got to get my baby muscles back up to a drop 3 major league status. But Andrew, is that pretty right on right there?
Yeah,
a lot of kids are getting into it.
Yeah, and I think like you alluded to, wood bats are typically a little bit heavier too. So, they are good just for training purposes. I've just kind of learned that people like using wood for training. Obviously college baseball teams play with aluminum bats, but they use a lot of wood in training. Like I made those training bats for Stetson, but for youth kids, like, they may be a little more difficult to get used to, but even if they're just using them to practice with, and like you said, just work on getting their hands through the zone or work on getting the barrel through the zone, like whatever you are trying to practice as a youth player, sometimes a wood bat is good to use just because of the weight differences and how it can help your actual swing once you put that aluminum back in your hands.
So you mentioned balanced, aluminum bats you can get, balanced, end loaded, all of those, types of styles. Is it the same way with a wooden bat? Can I ask for an end loaded or a barrel loaded, I guess you would say, in a wooden style?
Yeah, there's so many different models, and I don't even know where to begin with the different models, but like some models will be very true balance. So they're easy to get through the zone for contact hitters. And then there's some that are a little more barrel loaded. So they'll maybe have a skinnier handle and then a steeper taper. So instead of being a little more even, they'll taper out more and the barrel would be bigger. A lot of power hitters like using those. And so there's different ways to balance it. And if you like more of a shorter bat, you might put more weight down or do a less of a taper just to get that weight down by your hands a little bit more. And again, I don't promise to be an expert baseball coach or know all this stuff, but it just comes down to how the player feels. And I think you have to test out a lot of different models and a lot of different weights and sizes just to see what feels right. And, even if you could get like a 33-inch maple bat that's weighs, 30 ounces or something, but just the way the bat's made, like you might have to put a cup in the end of it. Like you might need to drill a cup to get that weight right. And when you have a cup in the end of the bat, that makes the balance feel a little bit different. So even it could be the same weight, but with a cup or without a cup is going to change how that bat feels in your hands and going through the zone too. So there's just so many little nuances, and you kind of just have to get what feels right to you.
That's I didn't even think of that either. Like, God, there's a lot to learn. What's
it's crazy.
What's your what's your degree in? So obviously you were as a basketball coach, but what'd you go to school for?
So I went and got my bachelor's in sport ministry. I went to a Christian university up in Wisconsin, and then I ended up getting my master's in coaching and athletic administration.
Okay, gotcha. What got you out of coaching basketball?
Yeah, so I mean, I love coaching, and I want to get back into it, but at this time, just I have two daughters, 8 and 9, and they're growing up fast, and they're getting into all the sports and school and friends, and so coaching moves you around a lot. So yeah. We've been in Florida now going on 4 years, but before that we were in Pennsylvania. Before that we were in Indiana. Before that we were in South Carolina. And like I said, my girls are 8 and 9, so they've been through all these moves, and it's just they start getting friends and they start growing up before your eyes, and you're like, man, this is a lot. And then the rigor of Division I college basketball is just. It's crazy. It's a business, and I love it. The competition is fun, but the things that people don't see on TV, the ins and outs of, you're in the office all day, and then you come home and you got recruiting phone calls, and then you got to break down film, and your head coach needs something, and there's just always, your phone's always blowing up. You're never on, never able to just enjoy it. Right. So I was kind of getting a little burnt out, and that's why I stepped away this season, and, wanted to see if this is what I really wanted to do. It's been cool to see God work and open some doors in my life and see how he's worked through that.
Gotcha. That's very cool.
Did you play baseball growing up, or was this just completely out of the blue? Like, I'm done coaching basketball for a little bit and I'm going to start making wooden bats.
Yeah. I mean, kind of both. I did play baseball growing up. I never played, I played on a travel team and played through high school. But I wouldn't say I was a great baseball player. I loved playing in the field too. Like, I was never a hitter. Like, if I could be a designated fielder, that would be my dream job. Just go play second base or shortstop and like never have to hit. So the fact that I'm making wood baseball bats from that aspect too is funny. But yeah, I mean, it was, I didn't stop coaching with the idea in my head that I was going to start making wood baseball bats. It was kind of just something that came up when I was like, man, I need to fill my time with something. So it was, it's always been a love of mine. Like I said, I love baseball. I love watching the Brewers play and I follow it. But never in my wildest dreams that I think I'd be turning wood baseball bats.
Well, so the artist part of it. So I don't think we've actually mentioned the name of the bat company yet. And that's a huge fail on my part. So Swish Baseball Bats. We talked about your name. So people are going to go look up your name first. So Swish Baseball Bats. I'm going to tell you, like, the colors like grab you as soon as you see it. The different customs that I've seen I love how contrast, all that good stuff. But like, do you have a background in art, or was that something that you just sort of had a skill for?
Yeah, I mean, again, no background, but it's something I've always enjoyed doing. So I love drawing. I've never been big into painting, but I've always loved drawing and things. And I always tell people too, like, when I do my journal entries, like, a lot of people write a journal. When I do my journaling, I draw. So like, if I have a thought on my mind, I draw that thought out or that quote out. And that's kind of one way I focus and just let it resonate with me. So I've always had a love for it, and I've done it. But yeah, when it came to the baseball bats, like, I had to learn how to use an airbrush and just try and figure out, the technique for airbrushing and how different paints respond to wood. and what kind of sealer can I use that's not going to wipe the paint away. So again, it's just a crash course and just trying to figure things out by trial and error. But yeah, no background in art other than I've really enjoyed it, and I think I have somewhat of a skill for it. So
yeah, I would agree. I would definitely agree. So let's talk a little bit about coaching. And so today's youth, baseball youth right now is going through a lot of like challenges. And the competition level, it's not even the competition level, it's how much we're pressuring and putting on some of these kids. Now, not all kids and not every coach, but things are crazy right now. Like, and you've got 14 years of coaching under your belt. What would you say about the state of baseball and just where you think it should go?
Yeah, I mean, I think any youth sport, not just baseball, but any youth sport, basketball, soccer, football, it really doesn't matter. Like, we put so much pressure on these kids. One, I think there's two things that kind of pop into my mind. And one is that we try and get them to focus in on one sport when they're a young kid. Right. And I think that's one of the worst things we can do. Like, even if you maybe have a future in baseball and you can tell your kid is a really good player, like, don't limit him from going out for the basketball team or the soccer team. Like, playing multiple sports is huge in anything you're doing. So, as a basketball coach, we always wanted our players like, go play football, go play soccer, because every single sport has something different. It uses different physical attributes. It uses different mental attributes, and you can learn a lot and get better in the sport you want to succeed at and excel at by playing multiple sports. So I think one thing that is a big problem in youth sports in general is just parents need to let their kids play multiple sports. Like, just go play different things. Right. And then two, what was I going to say with two? I lost my train of thought.
Oh, it's okay. Well, and while you're thinking,
might come back. If it comes back to me, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Like, definitely throw a flag, like tell me to like, shh, be quiet. I agree though. Like, I think we've done, Allie, did you throw a flag?
I'm just kidding.
You know what? We need to really get flags just to flag me every once in a while. But I see that so much, and there's no off season anymore for any of those sports. Used to, there would be, I think when I was growing up, we had spring baseball, and then that was it. And now, granted, that's in the early 90s, but like now there's no off season. We've got, we're trying to manufacture, I feel like, to some degree, baseball players, and it's not that way necessarily. Yeah. And you can see it on the kids.
For sure. And I think the other thing I was going to say too is, like, it's become such a me focused. I mean, really our culture in general, this isn't just youth sports, but everything's become so me focused, and we focus on our stat line, what we can do, what I need to do. And I think parents put a lot of that pressure on their kids too. But I think back, I actually just watched this clip a couple of days ago, but Derek Jeter was kind of asked about how do you handle pressure? And we always hear about like pressure. There's so much pressure. There's pressure on these kids to perform. There's pressure on adults to perform. But the best way to handle pressure is by focusing on what you can do to help the team, focusing on others. And I think when we can put our focus, and I think, the best youth coaches are ones that teach kids how to serve others, how to help their team. And when you do that, it helps you. Like, the more things I can do to help my team, the better I look. So if I want my stats to look good, and I want to be moving up and getting people to notice me, I think by doing things for others and kind of getting that attention off yourself is powerful. And so parents of youth athletes, like, I even see with my daughters, I go to softball practice tonight, and there's so many parents who are just so focused and locked in on their daughter doing the right thing, or not worried about how their attitude is or what they could be doing to serve their teammates by picking up balls or giving a high five. Like, it's these little things that I think destroy youth sports too. And one of the worst is in AAU basketball. I don't know how it is with baseball, but you just see
tell us. Go ahead. Just give us
the see dirt. These kids, just trying to mimic their idols, but they're not mature enough to really understand this stuff. And, it just is that's a bad thing. It's a bad look on youth sports. And it's a bad look, really, what I would say is on the coaches and the parents, because we're the ones who need to be teaching these kids the right thing. So if there are any youth coaches or parents watching, I just think, let your kids play multiple sports and really encourage them to serve others and get that attention off themselves, because that's how they're going to excel and really lift their name up.
Yeah.
So, as someone who has been a college basketball coach and who's been through the recruiting process, I feel like that's a big thing that kids focus on and adults focus on for their kids now is that scholarship, right? And that kind of leads to that single sport at a younger age to specify to get the scholarship. But as a college coach, we keep hearing you with the multi-sport athletes. Is that what a Division I college coach is looking for with any sport?
I mean, I don't know if I can speak for all the sports because I haven't coached in them, but I think at some point too, like I'm thinking when I think of youth sports, I'm kind of thinking ages like second grade through middle school.
Yeah.
Once you get into high school, I still think it's good to play multiple sports, but maybe you play one or two. Like that's when you start kind of honing in on what you're really good at. So by the time you get into the recruiting process, we start recruiting kids, who are sophomores, juniors in high school. And so I would say by that time, like you kind of got to figure it out, like, all right, I'm a baseball player. I'm a hooper. Like this is what I do. This is what I'm good at. And you can kind of start, if you have a passion for it, now you can start really making that your thing. But as a Division I coach and really a coach at any level, like you're looking at kids, who have leadership ability, who have hard work ethic, and who do things off the court. They treat people the right way. And I think one way to do that is just by having multiple coaches in your life, having different skill sets you've had to learn, having different adversity you've had to overcome. Because maybe you are a really good baseball player, but you played basketball and you sucked at it, and you had to figure out, okay, this is how I overcome adversity. This is how I have the right leadership mindset. And so, as kids going through the recruiting process who want a scholarship, like those little things really do matter. Obviously, your skill level and your talent level is super important. But those little things are the intangibles that are going to really allow you to stay and perform at that next level.
What's the leadership look like for a 10-year-old? And so if we've got a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, leadership is it's a big word, for kids. Like, what's leadership look like if you were talking to a parent, talking to a player or a coach? How do you help instill that leadership at such a young age?
Yeah, I think one thing with leadership that sometimes our culture struggles with is like we view leadership as the boss, the guy in charge. So
right.
Like the leader is
titles.
The coach.
Yeah,
your title, what your title is, or if you're the best player on the team, like you're the leader, right? No, there's a difference between being the leader and being a leader.
Right.
And I think those words are so powerful. And so for kids who are 10 years old, or even if they're high school, college athletes and they're maybe just riding the bench a lot, they're not to where they want to be, but you're always a leader. Like everybody is a leader, and you may not be the one calling the shots and you may not be the one getting all the opportunity, but you have a chance to lead. And so for a 10-year-old, I think one of the biggest things that you can do is just serve. Like I said before, and what I mean by serving is when your teammate gets a big hit, like even if you're not playing in the game, like be the first one to congratulate them when they walk in the dugout. That's right. Leadership. Okay. Yep. They struck out and they're hanging their head or they're throwing their helmet down. Like be the first one to give them a high five and say, you got the next one. Like that's leadership. And so again, these are little tasks and they're little things that we sometimes don't think make a big difference, but that's how a 10-year-old can be a leader. Like just by lifting people up, and again, getting your eyes off of yourself and what's going on with you, and just focusing on others. And I think that's something that any 10-year-old can understand. Just go lift somebody up, go encourage somebody, go smile at somebody, go, someone sitting by themselves at the lunch table at school, like just go sit with them. These are simple things that kids can do, and that's all leadership. And eventually those leadership skills, they snowball and they turn into something bigger. And that's what takes the average player into a great player. Is all these things when they start getting tied together.
Well, I think, as you're talking, there's so many different things that I want to point out, but, I think for all the parents just listen, I think to some degree, like you said, you're at a softball practice earlier. And if we see a kid miss a ball, I think to some degree, if that kid was to blow that one mistake off and wipe it off and, try to refocus, I think to some degree, we want the kids to be upset. Like we want them to be mad. And because of the parents, the me generation is like, well, that's my kid. That's a representation of me. Yeah. Instead of saying like what you're doing is go give an attaboy, go give a high five, go, encourage someone. Like, and when you strike, I told my son this year, Allie, I'm going to try to get him to record it. But so my son is one of those that he takes it hard. He wears his feelings on his sleeve. And, I think he struck out maybe a total of 3 times last year in 8U. And those 2 or 3 times were hard for him. And so this year I told him we're going to have a strikeout dance. And I'm going to do it with him if it happens. Like we're going to make some fun happen even in the negative spots. And I think parents, that if you're sitting on the bleachers, the more you encourage the entire team, the more your kid is going to encourage the entire team. And when you single out and when you spot out, or just put the spotlight on your kid, they're feeling that. As you're doing it, they're feeling it. And I think too many times parents, we want those kids to be a reflection of us when we should just let them be themselves. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Sure.
See, Allie, that's one of those soapboxes. Yeah. That's one of my soapboxes there. So
his tangents.
That is that's it.
No, good.
Man. Yeah. Well, very cool. So what's next? I mean, what's next for Swish Bats and where are we going with it?
Yeah, so eventually I would love to continue making bats because it is fun. Like I love to do it, and it's something that it's enjoyable for me. So hopefully I would love to be able to buy a CNC lathe because that would makes things so much easier if I could just crank some bats out and do different models and do different things that way. But I'm hoping to grow it and try and actually make a little bit of profit off of it. I don't make too much money doing it right now, but I do want to get back into college coaching. So I know, if trying to do that and run a business at the same time is a lot. So really just trying to hone my craft and continue to grow on my craft and just try and make it fun for people. There's not a whole lot of custom bats out there that can put a smile on people's faces. And
that's right.
I think it's just a cool thing to give someone some swag out on the field and something that they can call their own and be different. So I think that's fun to do. And I want to continue helping people with that.
So I think what we should do, Andrew, is we should start maybe even organizing some like wooden bat tournaments. And that way we get those bats in more kids' hands and we start giving them that true feel of what it's supposed to feel like. So we'll have to touch base and see what we can do. We may have you spinning bats for a couple weeks or something to get enough. So
yeah, that'd be fun.
What's the general size of a youth wooden bat? So are we still looking at a drop 8, 9 in the wooden category, or what are we looking at for a youth?
Probably not quite. It's usually probably around like 5 to 7.
Okay.
And usually they're anywhere from like the ones that I've done and seen most are like around the 26 to 28 inches for youth bats. And, some kids obviously will go a little bit bigger than that. But yeah, if you get like a 20, 27, 28, you're probably looking at swinging about a -5 or -7. And again, it sometimes just depends on the piece of wood you get to, and you try and make it to the best of your ability. I'm sure some guys know how to hone in on that exactness that I don't know how to do, but that's kind of the ideal spot.
Do you have any videos out there of you maybe creating from scratch and then with the airbrushes? I didn't see anything out where it had that, but do you?
Yeah, I don't think I have I have some maybe on my phone. I think I posted maybe a couple reels early on, maybe some of the older reels that show a little bit of the process. But yeah, I don't know if I've really done a start to finish, product of what it looks like.
Like the paint's got to be, because you're not only painting such a small area, but it's a circle. So, I mean, that's a challenge, I would have to say.
It's definitely different. The cylinder style of a bat makes it unique, just to try and line things up. And, if I have to use a stencil on something, like just getting it to fit right, because between the circle is not so much the problem, but the circle and the taper makes it tough. So you're not really, it's not a true round surface. So anytime you have to try and put a stencil down or do a straight line or a design, like there's always a little bit of distortion in it's not like a flat canvas that you're painting on. So it's interesting to try and just figure out how to make a design look right with the curvature of the bat and the taper of the bat and get it looking right.
Gotcha.
As far as the artwork and designs, I mean, what was the first artwork you did? And then fast forward, what was the coolest artwork you've done in your 50 to 60 bats?
Yeah, so the first one I did was actually for my dad, and he's a firefighter. He's an assistant fire chief up in Wisconsin. So I made him. It was just what did I make? It was a red bat with I did like a an axe outline. It had just had like an axe outline on it, and it was. I actually saw it over Christmas when I was up there, and it's a terrible bat. It weighs like 40 ounces, and it's a mammoth of a bat. But that was the first one I ever did and painted, and obviously it has a special meaning making it for my dad. The coolest one, man, there's a few of my favorites. I would say my overall favorite is I made this Grinch bat over Christmas, and it was really fun to make. But it was one of our friends out in Colorado. Their son died of cancer. Their 5-year-old son died of cancer, and he was a big Grinch fan, and so they're trying to raise money to build this all-inclusive park for kids in their neighborhood. And so not only was that one of the coolest designs that I had fun making, but it was maybe one of the more meaningful ones too that I've done.
That's cool. So what's the, have you made yourself one yet?
Actually, I have it right here. This is the first one I've made for myself. This Air Jordan.
Oh, yeah. You can see the Air Jordan.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen that poster with the Chicago skyline in the background. And
I like that.
I've been taking my daughter out to the softball field and, hitting her balls. And I just had this wood fungo bat. So I'm like, you know what? I need to just paint this for myself. So I actually worked on that one yesterday and finished it today. So that's the first one I've done for myself.
That's cool. See, I would have had to made the first one for me, but because I couldn't charge. Like I'm such. So my whole garage is like wood shop. And my wife has never been allowed to park in our garage because her car won't fit. Like I've got too much stuff out there, but like that's the kind of stuff that I would do. But I would be so like, God, the angles of getting everything. I'd be so picky.
Yeah, I should have brought the first bat I actually ever turned. It's still out in my garage, and it's atrocious. It looks. I don't even know what it looks like, but it doesn't really look like a baseball bat.
Dude, you got to keep that one forever, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Allie, go ahead. You got a question?
Well, I was going to say the fungo bat is just another type of wood bat that is used. I don't know if it's different, total different dynamics on the bat. A longer, skinnier neck. The tapers should be longer.
Yeah, so I will say I did not. I have a confession. I did not turn the fungo. So the fungo I ordered from my buddy at Xylo, and I just painted it. So I've never turned a fungo bat. I've done some of those skinny training bats with like skinny handles, but yeah, fungo, those are tough because and at least for me on my lathe, like the skinnier the handles get and the skinnier the bat gets, like the more vibration that happens in the lathe. And like as soon as I started trying to make one time, and by the time I got to probably halfway through the bat, it started spinning crooked, and it so these skinny lighter bats are really tough to make. So yeah, I took the easy way on that one and just painted that one for myself.
Well, at least you give him credit, but the paint job still looks amazing. So you got to post that one.
Yeah,
for sure. I'll probably be posting it in the next few days here.
Yeah, I'm going to order one definitely. I'm honestly I'm one of those that I'm going to have to give you like an order of like 2 or 3 because I'm a huge Punisher fan. Nice. And I think it would be awesome to have like a Punisher bat, and I think. Oh my God. See, now I got in a Game of Thrones bat.
See, and that's the thing I love is that like I would never think to make a Punisher bat or a Game of Thrones bat. Like but people come up with these ideas and they're like, hey, do you think you can make this happen or make this work? And sometimes I'm not sure. Like, I don't know. Like some design ideas are really intricate and I probably can't make them happen to what they're looking at, but it's fun. It's a challenge to come up with an art design for a Punisher bat and just make that look cool and one of a kind. So I love hearing those ideas. And again, it's, it makes it special because you're probably not going to go find a Punisher bat out at Dick's Sporting Goods or anything. That's right. Like it's just something that's unique and fun to do.
You can't name a bat anything else better than the Punisher. All right, so
it's true.
That's a whole nother episode we could do just on the show. So awesome. Well, hey, dude, thank you so much. Allie, last questions? Got any last questions?
No, I mean, I think that the wood bats for the youth are just so important for training. But I will say there's nothing like the sound of a ball coming off of a wood bat. It's just a crisp pop that you don't get anything like it with an aluminum or BB core or anything that these kids are using. So I think the more these kids start to fall in love with the sound of a wood bat and using a wood bat, it just helps them connect to major leagues as well. So keep doing the work, but also the designs on the bats, keep it fun for the kids. So they get to kind of connect with the major leaguers who do it a couple times a year. And it'll be exciting to see what crazy ideas the kids have and put you to work soon.
I know. Now I'm gonna have to go like look up a bunch of stuff and just see. I would have to give him like 4 or 5. All right, these are the 4 or 5 that I want. So
that should be like a contest or something, some social media contest, and winner gets some sort of custom design.
Yeah. There's something to it for sure.
There definitely.
I know that's what I need to think through how to get these contests and giveaways and stuff to have some fun on social media.
Look, I'm there with you. We're planning on running a contest in February. So by the time this comes out, we will already probably be mid-swing or it's over. So, but I struggle with that as well. So hopefully, if it's going on while you're listening to this, hopefully it's going successfully. So, all right. So last question we got, dude. It's the hardest question we always ask. It usually stumps most of the guests. If you were walking up to bat today, Andrew, what would be your walkout song?
Man, my walk-up song? I don't think that's a tough one, actually. I think so. There's this Christian rapper. His name is KB.
Okay.
And he just came out with a new song called Graves. And so it kind of starts out a little slow, but once the beat drops, about a few seconds into the song, I think that's probably the song I'd come out to right now. It's kind of been on my playlist repeatedly right now, and that's my go-to if I had to pick one right now.
All right, you said
do the girls love it?
Question though. That is a tough question though. What's that?
Do the daughters love it?
My one daughter does. Yeah. So my daughter that plays softball, she's big into, she loves the beats and the rap music. And then my other daughter, she can't stand it. She's like a big country music fan. So I have all my, I might pick some Morgan Wallen at some point.
There you go.
I'm kind of a moody music listener.
I am too.
Listener too. So maybe once the summer months roll around some more, I'll have some Morgan Wallen on my walkout songs.
See, I like that. So that question usually does stump most people, just because they're not thinking that as we're in the middle of a baseball interview. But like music relates to me in so many different forms, and like I'm like you. I may listen to Otis Redding one day, and the next day I'm on Eazy-E, and then Metallica. I could be all over the place. So
I love it.
I think a well-rounded musical taste can set you up to be successful for life. So
I agree.
Anyway.
You said Christian music with a beat.
That's right. Yep.
Hey, you can still, I got him pulled up right here. There's actually an acoustic version of it. So I have to listen to that. So, hey, Andrew, thank you very much for coming on with us. It's past my bedtime almost, but Allie in California, she's still got to eat dinner tonight. But Andrew, thank you so much. You're a Packers fan, so I hope the off season treats you well. Again, I'm a Dolphins fan, and I pray every off season treats me well. But you haven't had to deal with the issues we've dealt with. You've always had a quarterback. So.
That's right. You guys are used to it. We're not really used to this kind of thing. So I appreciate the sentiment, and I really appreciate you guys having me on tonight. It was a lot of fun.
Hey, so before we go, how do we find Swish Bats, and what social media platforms are you on?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I'm not really a professional on TikTok like most of the kids listening to this probably are, but it's Swish Wood Bat Co. like company, but Swish Wood Bat Co. on all those platforms. And just try and post some fun designs and showcase some of the things that people are interested in and buying. So
very cool. Well, hey, if you're listening right now, you got a birthday coming up, you got an anniversary coming up. Maybe I'll get my wife one for our anniversary, and then she'll have something to swing at me.
It's a great Valentine's gift. If there's any ladies listening,
there you go.
Guys, or birthday gifts, anniversary gifts, or
perfect. Yeah.
Like baseball season starts soon.
That's right. Opening day gift. Yeah, everyone needs a gift for opening day.
I'm going to tell you.
I've never gotten one, but maybe.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe.
Perfect.
Yeah. So if you're looking around for that perfect gift for a friend, someone that loves baseball, go check out Swish Bat Co. Because he's got some really, really cool bats and some amazing artwork. So, Andrew, thank you again very much, sir. Allie, all right, we got to focus on you now because this is your first time. So I'm going to say until next time. And then, Allie, you have to say, we'll catch you on the slide. Okay? All right, here we go.
Try it.
All right, here we go. So until next time, Allie.
We'll catch you on the slide.
We thank you for toughing it out and pushing through. Now, let's go teach the world great sportsmanship, leadership, to go inspire someone through your dedication and excitement for the game. Make sure to smash the like and follow button on all social media at The Slide Podcast Show and The Slide Pod on Twitter. Plus, leave us a review and feedback. Until next time, we'll catch you on the slide.